New administration in the United States of America has commenced its deportation proceedings that it had, is the word threatened? It had stated that it was going to look into this, take care of it. Well, it has already started. The news has been covered on it. But as it concerns us, talking about Nigerian nationals, 201, it is said, 201 nationals are due for deportation. 85 of them are to arrive Lagos anytime from now. So we'll look at this. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu-Ojukwu, has met with a U.S. Official, and they've spoken about these matters. First of all, let me introduce our guests. Ambassador Elijah Onyeagba, former ambassador to Burundi. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
Thank you so very much. Good morning, Uncle Yuri. It's nice having me.
Indeed, always my pleasure. Okay, and we will be joined later on by legal practitioner Liberus Oshoma, on the program. Okay, well, President Trump did say it, and now he's doing it. He started, in fact, it wasn't Nigeria that was the first, but now here we are. Nigerians will be receiving some of our nationals who are being deported. His quest is against unregistered nationals, I beg your pardon, unregistered immigrants. And I understand that the first set of 80 or so that will be 85 that will be arriving Lagos, they are said to be those that have been convicted of serious crimes. So those are the ones that are coming in first. But Ambassador, give me your overview of this particular Trump policy, and now that it has started, are there special areas? Because Ambassador, Bianca Ojukwu, she also was saying that one of the things that concerned us was dignity of the human being, and that they did not expect, our nationals to be roughly treated. What can you tell us about this whole scenario?
Thank you so very much, Uncle Yuri. During the U.S. Electioneering campaign, immigration is always a very big issue, and quite a lot of people have, you develop your school of thought as to what you think you need to do if you're on the ticket to vie for elections in the United States. And Trump did not mince any words. He was very strong on his immigration policies in terms of what he wanted to do. He felt that there are a lot of millions of illegal immigrants that has come into the U.S., and that they are involved in all sorts of crimes. And in fact, if you listen through his acceptance speech, and of course the inaugural speech that he gave, he actually made it very clear that he was going to embark on this deportation, massive deportation of illegal migrants into the United States. Incidentally, it's getting clearer to us that quite a lot of Nigerians are going to be affected by this policy. And usually deportation is not something that it's easy to discuss. Deportation have got quite a wide and far-reaching consequences, both for the individual, both for the economy as well. In fact, if you want to sit down to analyze the implication of this, you can look at it through several prisms. There are economic implications, there are social implications, there are even diplomatic and political implications at the country-to-country level. So what the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Ambassador Bianca, has done is basically to bring to the consciousness the fact that Nigeria's expectation is that due process must be followed, and that the rights and dignity of the individuals concerned must also be protected while this process is going on, which is what the government is expected to do anyways. But clearly, that's not a very good thing for us as a country. Yes, we will continue to speak against illegal migration to countries. But at the same time, from economic perspective, if you look at it, you ask yourself, why do people move from one country to the other? We complain about brain drain, but again, on the other hand, Nigerians living in the United States has been a very significant contributor to remittances that come into Nigeria. It means that on a yearly basis, the figures and statistics shows that there are billions of dollars that move across from the United States into Nigeria in the form of remittances. So when you deport people that usually send these monies are sent for local investments. They are sent to assist families here in Nigeria. They are sent for very many reasons. And the implication of this economically when you deport them is that you begin to find that our economy will not be performing at the rate at which it wants to perform, because what it means is that there will be a massive decline in the remittances that come into the country. So that in itself is not a very good economic outlook for the country, And not just in those remittances, you will also find out that when people move from the U.S. back into the country, we are likely to experience an issue of employment. So I envisage that the unemployment rate in Nigeria is likely to increase as a result of that. Unemployment and underemployment, because when people come in, sometimes they struggle with skills mismatch. It might be someone that is working in the digital environment or in the digital sector, in the digital space. It might be someone, that is an entrepreneur. And by the time they come into the country, what you begin to experience is that there's actually no job for them to do, or they struggle to fit into the Nigerian society, particularly people that have been there for a very long period of time. So this will have a negative economic consequence on the Nigeria's economy. So that's one. There are also the social implications, because sometimes when you deport people back into the country, sometimes they are married, sometimes they've already had children. So the children begin to, families are disrupted. And there are challenges, even the ones that are in Nigeria that hitherto receive this funding or in the form of assistance through remittances that come into the country. There is distress. Nobody is happy. Everybody is very worried as to what is going on and how they will continue to survive in the absence of the remittances that they were receiving previously. So that in itself is also an issue. Sometimes there is also a stigmatization issue. You're walking around and say, that's that one that was deported from, wherever. So that stigmatization is also a big problem. It's not a very good thing to hear that someone is, deported from one location to the other. So this is also some of the social challenges that we are likely to have. Again, there's also the diplomatic and political consequences as well. Because if Nigeria begin to feel that the citizens of the country are not properly treated in the form of, in this whole process, what that can also lead to is a diplomatic row between Nigeria and the U.S. as well. So that's why I appreciate what the Minister of State have done to go and commence this diplomatic engagement with the U.S. Embassy to say, listen, we want due process to follow, and we also want the rights and dignity of our citizens to be protected in the course of this, which is the right thing to do. So, if this process is not followed, properly legally and, maintaining their rights and dignity, it can also lead to a diplomatic row. So there are far-reaching consequences. But again, on the part of Nigeria, I believe that what government needs to do is to strengthen our diplomatic engagement with them, and then trying to find a way to ensure that, our people are not, their rights are not trampled upon. And also to begin to look at what economic consequences, what economic, reintegration policies can we have? How can we increase job opportunities so that once people are coming into the country, there will be also a fallback so that we don't begin to have people that go into crime and all kinds of social vices on the account of not seeing anything that they would do as soon as they come into the country.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador. Now, as I said at the beginning, we also had another guest, Mr. Libros Oshoma. Libros is a lawyer and a policy analyst. Thank you very much, Libros, for coming on. Your take on this. You know, the ambassador has spoken about so many different possible effects. But I was looking at the number, 85 to arrive today, 201 total in this particular tranche. It might be more, but we're talking about 201 have been sort of certified and, you know, processed for deportation, 85 reportedly arriving anytime, maybe today, because this was the news yesterday, while the 116 others are to remain in detention. What are your thoughts about this whole matter? I'm sure you'd have read up on the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Ojukwu.
First and foremost, the question is, why would Nigerians, for example, prefer to remain in prison in America than be deported to Nigeria? That's the big question mark. Over the weekend, there were videos of National Security Advisor trending, you know, on his outburst.
In relation to the
Canadian refusal of visas. And why would, you know, somebody at that level be angry? Ordinarily would have been, you know, something that, you know, would not even be mentioned, because you would hear, for example, an outburst from a national security advisor in America, for example, that they were refused visa to come into London, England, you know. So when we find answers to these questions, and that's where we'll now be able to take the minister's statement, you know, just oppose it, and Nigerians generally in Nigeria, even the ones here, feel that they are not fairly treated. That is why you find Nigerians wouldn't mind, you know, crossing the sea, dangerous, you know, trekking the Sahara Desert just to get to Europe, crossing the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, just to get abroad. Anywhere they say is abroad, they just want to run to them. You know, they are not properly utilized there, for lack of a better word. And so, now, you find out that some other persons, yes, you know, other persons, other countries are deported, not just Nigeria.
They didn't start with Nigeria.
They didn't start with Nigeria. You know, the row really is between America and Mexico. You know? And if you go to places like San Francisco, for example, and California, you feel this, you have a lot of it. In fact, you have three major languages in America: English, you know, two major languages, you know, the Latino and English. You know, it's
English and Spanish.
Yes, sorry, English and Spanish, because of the what do you call it?
The proximity
of
Mexico.
And so now they've come to accept that. So what we need to do
for went and started the offensive, if that is the word to use, from there.
So despite all of that, they would have a way, because of the proximity, certainly there will be ways to deal with that diplomatic relationship. But here, no matter what we say or do, we're going to be negotiating or discussing from a weaker point of view. Anytime you hear that, oh, the American embassy has shut down their operations in Nigeria, you know, there's palpable tension. Anytime you hear that, oh, last 2 weeks there were rumor that, oh, the Dropbox visa application had been stopped until the American envoy came to clarify the issues. There were, you know, fears. And so why? Because here we have not been able, Nigeria has not been able to look inward and say, you know what, let's first and foremost treat our citizens well, provide the basic infrastructure to make it unattractive for them to want to go seek better life outside. Go to United Arab Emirates. They don't just wear white. If they give you a job, construction job, it will be stated there clearly that you should come with your laborers because they don't have laborers. So citizens from those places will travel to other places as kings. But when you don't treat yours well, they will find all alternative ways, just not just Nigeria, Africa, you know. And that's why Africa is almost like a scrapyard for these people.
Yeah, I get all of that, liberals,
No,
but the freedom...
I'm getting there.
Okay, the freedom to travel, the freedom to decide that, you know, I have nothing against Nigeria. Nigeria is my country. But, you know, I'm going to make my life in Portugal, for instance.
There are some persons
Yes.
who, if you give them an
they do not
opportunity,
renounce.
they don't want to travel.
Okay.
But
Yes.
that's why I need to lay that
Okay.
foundation.
Okay.
Majority of these people, the ambassador talking about stigmatization. Why would there be stigmatization if ordinarily these people are people who will want to voluntarily, you know, come back here and then still have that opportunity to go crisscross? There are people here
Yes.
who travel to these places, you know,
Almost
every
on a
now
monthly
and then
basis.
come back to Nigeria.
That's right.
You know, but the issue here is, why would American want to deport? Where do you have that number of, you know, undocumented immigrants? You can look at it from based on the population
I
and
even
say
thought
it's
it was small. 201, 85
said
of which are
for this
convicted individuals.
You said for the first trenches.
Yes.
Yes. You're
yes.
talking about the first, not second.
Because
There might be second, there might be
Nigerians,
third.
plenty.
Yes. So if you look at, for me, it is not small, it is high.
Okay.
It is a high number. And then I will get to the issue of convicted and why convict them, why bring them to self-sentence here. You know?
Okay.
So,
You know, okay, because can I take that particular thing that you started? Let me take it to the ambassador and then we'll come back here. You and Liku. Ambassador, talking about the convicted individuals among the Nigerians reportedly held and have been processed for deportation. How does that work out? When you are convicted, that's not a nice thing. I mean, let's face it, but at least they are paying their debt to society as per American rules. But when such people are deported, the point was made, in one of the reports I was reading, where the Americans were stating, look, there's no opportunity for this is where you want to go or this is where you come from. We're dropping all of you in Lagos. It is now the Nigerians' responsibility to know which one came from Asaba, which one came from Morocco or whatever. That it was said, I mean, there's no matter about dropping you off in Kano or in Abuja. We'll drop you off in Lagos. Could you explain what is the proper protocol when we have situations where convicts are deported before the completion of their sentence, and even as some have completed their sentences and are then deported? What is the... So how does that affect the individual? Those that have not completed their sentences, do they come here and complete those sentences or what?
You know, thank you so very much for coming back to me again. And for the lawyer, the legal practitioner in the studio, a very good morning to you. Yeah, clearly, there are protocols that are established on how to handle these issues. In fact, in diplomatic relations, part of the memorandum of understandings that could be signed between country to country is exchange of, prisoners. It's also being able to transfer people that have not finished serving their sentences in one country back to the country of their origin so that they can actually complete it there. So these agreements exist. I don't have in clear terms as to what exactly we have with the United States.
It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Agreements with India.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all. We have this agreement between India and Nigeria, for example. We could have it with quite a lot of... These are part of the agreements you sign in the form of memorandum of understanding in diplomatic relations, But I want to look at it from this perspective. People that are in prison in America will feel that maybe American prison is a lot better for them than serving in Nigeria. That's on the one hand. On the other hand is that people that have illegally migrated to the United States of America that are not contributing to the economy of the U.S. because they're in the prison, the country is actually facing the pressure of taking care of them in the prison. So that can also be one of the reasons why they say, you know what, This guy has committed a crime. He is here. We are taking care of them, feeding them 3 times a day, giving them all kinds of training in the prison. Now, it's better to actually reduce our cost because you know that Trump's economic policies has all been, self-preservation, America first, how to cut costs, how to, make America great, quote and unquote, in his, understanding of what that means. But clearly, I want to look at it from a perspective that they feel that there's pressure on their finances, on the economy, taking care of them. And therefore, it is better to get them back into Nigeria. So the protocol will be, if we do have people that have not completed their sentences and they come back to Nigeria, do we have that understanding with them that, or rather, the MOU we have with them, is this such that we can transfer them into our own facilities and then they complete it here or otherwise? So I think that, the people in charge of these issues will look at it and then find a way to get them to be. And I do not think that it's in their place to begin to think that, someone is from Ekiti and another person is from Kanu and another they are Nigerians. They are there.
Exactly. They're Nigerians.
Or whatever.
That's why they say they're dumping them in Lagos.
Illegally.
And you Nigerians sort them out.
Yes, from Nigeria. So it's once they get them to the soil of Nigeria, they have done their own part. The Nigerian government is expected to take that up from there. And then if there are people that have not completed their sentences and we have such understanding, maybe they will not decide where. Maybe they will not transfer the person back to a facility that is closer to where the person comes from. And some of those details, I'm sure the government authorities between Immigration, Nigeria Correctional Service, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will look at these issues and find a way to...
Ambassador, the lawyers wants to chip in something here.
Yes, I was the one that raised that issue. Why? And because some of this crime, even the penalties for the commission of the crime is that you can be deported, even if you are residents. And because a crime, it's like you have violated part of the terms of residency in that society. But the challenge here is, that's why I said Nigerians would rather want to spend, do time in these prisons than come back home. Even the ones that are, but the good parts,
It's not a laughing matter, but they have television over there in their prisons.
I once listened to, I attended a seminar where, a preacher in Nigeria here said, he came from America, he said that he visited some of our university hostels, that Americans will not put their prisoners in the places we call university hostels. That's an aside.
And it was a Nigerian speaking?
Yes,
okay, so we couldn't make too much trouble.
The problem, the question here now is, even the ones that are still serving, the good part for them is that I've had cause to, I was in one of these big, police formations, and I saw when some Nigerians were deported from America and they were received and all their biometrics taken. Okay. And the good part for them is that at the end of this, even some of them that have not completed their terms, with special arrangement here, some of them are allowed to go.
Okay, so, because I was wondering if there was that possibility that, look, so far you've been deported. It doesn't matter what's left. Go.
Exactly. That's what happens here, because, we're highly religious, very sympathetic. Oh, this man was like he was in heaven. Nigeria is a cell enough. It's a prison enough for him. So just allow him go. That's why I said I use the word with special arrangement. And you find out that even when in some cases they are documented, their fingerprints, biometrics are taken. Commit a crime in Apapa and your fingerprints are taken in Apapa. As a first timer, you don't even need to leave go far. Just go to my 2, commit another crime, and your fingerprint will be taken as a first timer. That's to tell you how coordinated these things are. So that's why the business of their foreign mission is, look, we have handed you over your people.
Yes, in Lagos.
Yes, they have. It's not their business really.
So, yes.
To begin to take you to, because ordinarily, if you were a documented immigrant and you had obeyed and complied with the rules and regulations of the society, you will not be in this situation that you are in. But in all of this, for me, I want Nigerians to see this. The government should see this, not just from the diplomatic position. And if you remember Prince Bolaji Akiyemi, Professor Bolaji Akiyemi said that the government should try as much as they can not to go into the diplomatic role with Trump. But we should see this as an opportunity to look inward and say, how do we ensure that we'll make Nigeria more attractive to our citizens, that even when they go, if they are not fairly treated over there, rather than committing crime to make ends meet, they would know that there are opportunities here. So it is easy to just buy a ticket and come back home instead of, remaining in prison abroad. So that's for me should be the take home generally.
I hear it. But some, as you know, have simply developed a taste for the American, way of life, and so they want to stay there willy-nilly. And I hear what you're saying. We'll come back and talk a bit more about that. Ambassador Elijah Onyagba, we'll take a short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did they start?
First, with breaking news.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, time doesn't just tick away. It counts down to political decisions that shape our world.
This country must move.
Imagine the impact these decisions have on our lives. Some are consequential, others may leave us intrigued or baffled.
You will have no better friend and partner than Nigeria.
Step in and feel the frenzy like never before. Join me every weekday for an hour of fact-finding interviews where questions cut to the core.
How would you say your administration has fared in these sectors?
I will dig in to get to the heart of issues, from local politics to global insight. Join me as I unearth the power plays, jaw-dropping revelations, and the unfiltered truth. This isn't just politics, it's unraveling the stories that matter. Brace yourself for Politics Tonight every weekday at 8 p.m., where every decision echoes along the corridors of our lives. Politics Tonight, only on TVC News.
Okay, welcome back. Ambassador Elijah Onyagba, former ambassador to Burundi, is in our Abuja studio. And in the studio here, we have legal practitioner Libros Oshoma. He's also a policy analyst. Ambassador, coming back to you over there, you've heard, the legal view, the legal point of view that, and I think you had said earlier that, look, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a MOU that they have. It might be so with one country and not so with another country. But did you want to contribute on, especially as they themselves mentioned that 85 who are who are convicted felons will be arriving today, 116 others to remain in detention. That very detention, the very detention camp, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, had spoken about this, that look, we want to cause as little stress as possible to these people, all the time maintaining their dignity as Nigerians, first of all, as human beings, and that they didn't expect that this would be trifled with. I think she was explaining all those things that the ambassador himself also spoke about. A lot of these people, it is thought, are breadwinners, are paying school fees, are doing this and are doing that. So there are going to be upheavals. Ambassador, if any way you look at it, if we are undocumented and in the U.S., surely we're liable if you are caught. People don't want to be caught. It's best. I imagine there must be hundreds of thousands of Nigerians who are walking free in America simply because they are complying with all the rules. But there are these unfortunate ones that find themselves as convicts now. Is there really any hope but just take them back and, as Liberals has been saying, see what you can do to discourage people from wanting to go to the no man's land of another country without having any kind of support system yourself?
I mean, we can't overflog the issue on the need to fix our country. Because where the world is going, the new world order from Trump's inaugural speech from the day he took over as the president of America, he was concerned about America. And I think that the lesson actually there for us as a country and for quite a lot of African countries is to sit back and fix your country. Nobody is going to do that for us except ourselves. So there's nobody coming from Mars or coming from anywhere. And these issues don't happen overnight. You must do a lot of work. We must provide basic infrastructure. We must provide economic opportunities and job opportunities for our people. Because, I mean, if you've traveled around the world, you'll find out that, irrespective of the kind of comfort you find over there, there is still no place like home. So the idea that we must try to do everything possible to make our economy attractive for our citizens to stay back is a no-brainer. That point has been made and it's been made very clearly. But again, on the part of the fact that people are already convicted, the argument for the Americans, I would imagine, would be that they are not working. They are not contributing to the growth of anything in America's economy. Actually, they are spending public resources and finances to keep them, alive and feeding them in the prison. So what's the point? There are quite a lot of, illegal immigrants that get into the U.S. from quite a lot of countries. Some of these things happen through what they call immigration fraud, meaning that you could actually take a visa, a B1, B2 visa that is for tourism, and then you get there, and then you now decide to stay back and decide to find a job, and some of these things. So these things happen. So that in itself is an issue, but again, the next level is that some of them have also now gone into crime. Number one, you are not documented properly, you're probably not there with the right visa to work, and then again, you are now into crime. So these are the issues, and then, of course, they have been tried, they have been convicted, and they are serving their sentences. So the country will imagine that there's no need spending resources, just so long as you can trace where they have come from, return them to the country. This is a big issue and has always been a big issue between America and Mexico, and that's that's what gave rise to the big story of wall, the construction of the wall between the the borders of America and that of Mexico and all of that. But as far as we are concerned, we've made the point very clearly that we need to fix our country. So that's the number one issue, because it's not just America. There are quite a lot of countries.
Sorry, Your Excellency.
I want to talk about the deportation experience. Yes, I want to talk about the deportation experience.
I'm going to come back to you so that you can do precisely that. But we've been holding on to Reverend Dominic's call for quite a while. So let me quickly take Reverend Dominic's call. Saying, begging excuse from Liberals that, I'm going to go straight back to the ambassador for that deportation experience he wanted to give us. Yes, good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, TVC. Good morning, my friend Liberals. Good morning, Ambassador Elijah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Let me tell you this story in 5 seconds to tie it to what we're discussing. I was in South Africa a few years ago, as a local pastor from Nigeria. So in that church in South Africa, there's many young ladies. So I made an altar call who want to pray for these young ladies to marry. So as they were coming forth for me to pray for them to marry, every one of them has a little child or at the backing or is coming out with a little child. So I talked to my host. I said, my host, maybe because I'm coming from Nigeria, they don't understand my English. Could you tell them what I said? I need young single ladies whom I can pray to marry. So my host said, Pastor, Prophet, keep quiet, pray the prayer. After I'll tell you the story. Long story short, at the end of the service, he took me to his office. He said, these young ladies in South Africa here, that for them to have a child is to have economic security. The government of South Africa paid them child support. I bring it down here. When you say Nigeria should stay in Nigeria, what is it for Nigerians for Nigerians? I'm not going to America, I'm going to South Africa here. For a young girl to have a child in South Africa, it is a privilege to her to have what they call economic support. But a Nigerian girl that took in will call baby mama. Maybe if he doesn't come out from a rich home, he will suffer it all the days of her life. As long as there's nothing for Nigerians, Nigerians will go anywhere there's something. And that makes me to be enemy of liberals and you and other people. When we remove subsidy here, I cry my eyes out. Because I've traveled a little bit worldwide. I said every individual of a nation have something she or he will fall back to.
But Nigeria is different. Okay, thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Okay, quickly back to you, Ambassador, as I promised, and then I'll come to Libros in studio. You were going to tell us something about the deportation experience.
Yes, I want to talk about this because it's important that we understand that it's not usually a very good experience, and that's the reason why the minister has been speaking about it. I've been in a plane where I found people that were being deported in Nigeria. They are the last to board the aircraft or the first to board the aircraft. And actually, they are treated as prisoners. Yes. And when you disembark in Nigeria, they are the last set of people to also, in fact, they usually have them at the rear parts of the aircraft. That's where they keep them together.
Usually in shackles?
By the time everybody disembarks, yeah, not necessarily in shackles. I haven't seen the ones that are in shackles. But maybe the ones that are in prison, the ones that are convicted of maybe criminal, whatever, But usually, they line them up and they don't come out of the plane yet until officers of the Nigerian immigration and maybe correctional centers and all of that now go and, they stay in a file. They match them, whether boarding the aircraft or coming out of the aircraft and all of that. So this is usually not a very wonderful experience, to have. And that's why I'm sure the reason why the Minister of State Foreign Affairs was trying to make the point that their dignity must be preserved in that process.
So just before I come to you, George has called in, but I'm coming straight to you. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and
yes.
Good morning to the two guests.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, traveling to other countries to experience is a human right. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, it's a human right. Even if everything was okay economically in our country, people will still have a reason to travel and go and experience in other countries of their choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. They call us third world countries. As third world as we may be, do you know how many people from other countries are in this country, Nigeria, including Americans, private American citizens who come here to do one business or the other.
Yeah, but the point is they say they are unregistered. America is not saying don't come near us. Come and be registered. We need to know who is coming in.
Uncle Yori, we know where Trump is coming from. He's on a mission of personal vendetta.
Okay.
He believes the crimes against him as a person. There were attempts by some criminals to assassinate him. And all the while, he has been against, he has a racist tendency within him. But he has forgotten that America, an average American, is an immigrant. We were better than America as at 250 years ago, comparatively. I can tell you that anybody can look at the history of America. 250 years ago, were they in the position Nigeria is today? We are building our country. no matter how we succeed,
then they should just allow stay and do
there
anyhow.
will be some people who want to experience other countries. Countries, same countries, play these things down for humane reasons.
Okay.
There's no country that doesn't have one form of illegal immigrant or the other. They play it down for humane reasons.
Okay.
This president of America has no human feeling. That's the truth of the matter.
All right.
They allow the criminals to come to power in their country.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. George.
you see, there are two issues here. Nobody's saying don't come. But the thing is, don't come. There are rules. You must comply with the rules for coming.
Because the point must be
and if you say you're coming,
thousands of Americans walking freely in America.
As I speak to you now,
of Nigerians,
this today, there are Nigerians who will leave Nigeria to America today and will not come back.
Yes.
Despite this deportation, there are people who will leave, and their own is as I'm going, they will come back. And also to add to what the ambassador has said, usually, for some of them, that maybe some of these people might just be arrested for minor crimes. And then also, because of the society.
Arrested for minor crimes, and then it is found out that your stay here is irregular.
It's irregular. So that becomes a bigger problem. And then maybe the crime might be a crime that will be overlooked in your society. For example, you are coming from a club and you are drunk. Here, it's a normal thing. You can even give the policeman the remaining drink as your guy manage.
No, discipline will not allow any Nigerian policeman to countenance that kind of thing.
Okay, we'll leave that for another day.
Yes, let us leave it for another day.
You know, so some of them, I've had friends who were arrested and deported, no clothes, nothing. But the challenge for me in all that we're saying is, look at Nigeria, the way Nigeria is. Why are people, even some of these people, you say, okay, you're bringing them back, in human form, you should give them their dignity. The question here is, that's why even no matter how they treat these Nigerians, we don't reciprocate because you hardly find Americans you are going to deport.
In the same situation.
And then even when it is...
These Binance people, did we...
That's a big story. In government custody, and then they just vanish, and then they appeared somewhere. I'm
holding on to Mazi Okoruafo.
Oh,
he's been long.
Yes, I've been asking after
Mazi Okoruafo. Good morning to you, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Honestly speaking, Trump is God sent to survey the whole world, not only America. There are like what I guess was just taking some minutes ago. There are things we in Nigeria we overlook. Because we overlook those continue multiplying, making all these criminalities, all these vices available. Look, you travel to a place, you have no documentation, and they caught you with testing systems. There's the goal of keeping you, send you back to your country, go there and settle that if you can reform yourself. Because America, like Trump already said, look, what he's doing now is the profile of what he gave to people when he was campaigning. The second part that he did was what he said that he don't waste of time, that within 100 days in office, he will do this. That's what the young man is doing. Now, do you know?
No, Trump is not a young man, no. Which young man?
I call him a young man because he's a
Trump is 78, I believe. Something like that.
Age is not a barrier. Age is not a barrier. Whether it's 98, it's a barrier because the decision is taken now is what a young man of governors are supposed to take to survey their state.
Yeah.
Because, look, if the young governors we have in this are vibrant and taking the decision like that man yourself is a road as I call him a young man, everything has been taken. How can you allow a state people to stay in a place? One people will just come and gather themselves outside. I think you saw what happened in Washington State yesterday. You saw what they said in Lagos State. Is that how it's supposed to be? I don't know, woman. Can't you see? Don't you have the spirit of sportsmanship? Honestly, Trump is doing the best thing. May God bless you and keep you. Honestly.
Okay. I've got to leave it there. Thank you very, very much.
Please.
And
let me round up my thought.
Yes.
And so, for me, the challenge here is you're saying, oh, their human dignity, their treatment and all of. The question, the big question, there is no way, Ambassador, sorry, there's no way we won't come back home here and ask the same question. The question, these people will confront you and ask you, how well these same citizens, we've treated them even fair, much more than you have treated them. And so you don't have the moral right to begin to tell us how to handle, because if you had organized yours, they won't come here to commit crime. And some of these citizens also, the big question and the trauma for them is, am I going to come to Nigeria to confront the kind of DSS, the kind of police protection that we saw this Lagos State House of Assembly was given? Because if you look at what happened, with the letters we have seen from the the DSS, they were invited to Lagos State House of Assembly, because you can't talk about what is happening abroad and say, give us fair treatment. And then you look at, when you juxtapose it with what is happening inside, oh, we were invited to come and give protection. And you ask yourself, is this how you give protection? When they invite you to come and protect, is it to come and steal? Is it to come and invade? With the previous protection that you had been given, is this how you had been given that kind of protection? So if your security can invade a house of assembly, the hallowed chambers of a house of assembly, under the guise of protection, then what moral right do you now have to tell foreigners, foreign countries that are bringing back your citizens who have committed crime in those citizens to say, no, this is how you must treat them? Because you are not treating your citizens well. The first thing should be, for me, let Nigeria treat her citizens well. And then that will not be a benchmark on how others will treat them. Look, Trump is talking about American first. Why can't we say Nigeria first? Let's copy it from there and say Nigeria first. And anywhere an America is, once he says, I'm an American.
Everything Tinubu has been doing has been to raise the profile of Nigeria.
That's a topic for another day.
The
profile of the politicians is raising massively. The profile of the average Nigeria is different. That's why what happened, that show of shame at the Lagos House of Assembly yesterday, was avoidable. And the question you will now ask to end on that, is the former speaker above the law that there is a petition that somebody is coming to cause mayhem? The DSS did not invite the person. If it's Liboras Oshoma or Okuyori, the next thing, they will send vans to come and pick you, invite you. They say they want to hear your own side of the story. He was not invited. Rather, the people that called you for protection are the people that you're invading, and the people that you want to seal. You seal offices, you want to seal chambers, and you want us to believe that, yes, truly, this is a police protocol. Oh, come on.
In fairness, there was no way I was going to be able to prevent you from bringing that up.
There is no way, because we're talking about
that is why
Nigeria.
It's
thank God you allow me to
vent. Kolawole, Mr. Kolawole in Alakwere, good morning. Thank you for holding on. Is Kolawole there?
Yes, Mr. Yori, I'm there.
Okay, good morning, sir. Go ahead, quickly, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Valentine in advance, in Ariad. The Nigerians migrating all over the country. Some of them are not serious, and they are not trustworthy to travel. Let me give you an example. 2010, when I traveled to UK, the house I stayed, I was told, if you had a knock on the door, don't open the door, because if they enter the house, it's police, so they will pack everything or they are bailiff.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I understand. In fact, oh dear, we've completely run out of time. I suspected it might be very much like this. You know what? Tell you what, Ambassador Elijah Onyagba, you're a friend of the house. You're close to us. You know how we roll. And this has happened. I have even less than 2 minutes. So I'm just going to have to thank you very much, sir, for coming on our program today. There's no time to say anything
No, just give me 2 seconds. Just give me a second. I think it's important that we all understand that we all have the responsibility of building Nigeria.
Okay.
Our conduct, whether in or outside the country, says a lot about who we are as a person.
Indeed. We can't say much more than that.
Hands must be on deck.
Thank you very much, sir. Completely ran out of time.
In the hands being on deck,
yes,
the government, there's a higher responsibility on government to ensure
all
that
right
the
then.
environment is there.
Okay.
So that the hands are on deck will not be on poto. They will truly be on deck.
Liberal Soshama, I thank you very much. Ambassador Onyagba, I thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it here. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Fulani. Bye-bye for now.